Syria was added to the Axis of Evil list in March for possessing chemical and biological weapons. It is also accused of developing a ballistic missile program with the help of Russia and North Korea. Travelling on a tourist visa with my producer Will, I arrived in Damascus, a modern city open to the outside world. Although maybe a few too many portraits of the president and his late father. But it's other portraits that highlight just how far apart America and the Middle East are. Hamas, Hezbollah and Islamic Jihad are branded terrorist groups in the West for their attacks on Israel. Here, they are celebrated as heroes. I was shown round the old city by a local guide, Nassim, who wouldn't talk about Syrian politics. But when I mentioned Israel...
We have about 500,000 Palestinians in Damascus. Many of them, they still have the keys of their houses, which they lost. And so this injustice that the West have been dealing the Arabs or the Muslims regarding the cause of Palestine, of course this will drive the people to continue fighting to get back their lands.
Hostility towards Israel is everywhere in Syria, but one poster stood out. The meat in an American hamburger is a 4-month-old Palestinian killed when Israeli tanks shelled a refugee camp in Gaza after a Palestinian terrorist attack on a Jewish settlement.
Boycott the American goods.
Boycott US goods. It's here as well.
Over 300 Palestinian children have been killed during the current intifada, and America gives Israel at least $5 billion a year in aid. Syria, along with most other Arab states, has imposed a boycott on all American goods.
Every US dollars that we buy, that goes to the, or a percentage of which goes to the Israelis, to help the Israelis that buy American weapons and kill the Palestinians. This is the truth.
The local restaurant we were taken to was sticking to the boycott. Arabic producers of imitation products are struggling to meet demand.
It's the same.
If there was no embargo, which American goods would you like?
I don't think there is any American product I want to get here.
McDonald's? No. You know the answer to the...
Yeah.
They did North Korea, Iran, Iraq, and then they added Syria. How do people feel about that?
Very angry.
Officially, Syria has recognized the State of Israel, although many maps in Syria don't even acknowledge its existence. I had expected everyone to be calling for the death of Israel. Instead, everyone I met said they would live peacefully alongside Israel if only it would return the land conquered in the 1967 war.
We have to stop the war in Palestine, not to make more war. That's what we have to act.
And how can you stop it?
To give justice for the people.
Back to the 1967 borders?
Of course, at least.
At least.
Of course.
Reminders of Syria's political dynasty loom large in the country. Hafez Assad ruled the country for 30 years, and when he died 2 years ago, his English-educated son, Bashir, took over.
Why do we have a lot of pictures?
Yeah.
It's just people loving them, so they just put pictures everywhere. Maybe that. It's a kind of expression that you love someone, so you just hold his or her photos all the time with you.
Because in England we don't have that.
Well, I know it's a custom here or something like that, just expressing that you love the man.
Nothing is more dangerous to Islam than distorting its meaning and concepts while posing as a Muslim. They are killing in the name of Islam. They are assassinating in the name of Islam. They are butchering children, women and old people in the name of Islam. They They are wiping out entire families in the name of Islam. That's not George Bush or Dick Cheney speaking, that's President Hafez Al-Assad 20 years ago, when he wiped out 6,000, well, roughly 6,000 men, women and children in the town of Hama, which had been taken over by the Muslim Brotherhood for 4 days. And they will proudly say... But the rallying power of moderate Islam is strong in this secular state. Friday afternoon prayers and a trip to Damascus's main mosque to hear the Grand Mufti's weekly sermon.
10 minutes? 15 minutes.
The 94-year-old cleric is Syria's most influential religious figure. His sermons are as political as they are spiritual. 15 minutes stretched to 2 hours when Will, the producer, was mistaken as one of a party of visiting Danish school teachers and invited to take a ringside seat. I sat up in the translation booth whilst the old man questioned the West's version of September the 11th.
Up till now, no one has been able to prove who was the doer. Why is this malice against Islam?
He said, first of all, he said military power, then chemical weapons and even nuclear weapons. He said, anyone possessing these things will be held accountable. Anybody. There was no death to America, no death to Israel, no. And he said he would like to say to George Bush, what would Jesus Christ say to you if you told him about the idea of preemptive strikes? He arrived suffering from cramp, but the expected question and answer session never materialised. His doctor has advised him to slow down.
It's okay to film with the camera? Yeah, it's fine.
I did get a quick meeting with his son.
I visited Britain 4 times. And I stayed in Leeds for 2 months.
Leeds?
Yes.
I've been to Leeds.
He also supported a return to Israel's 67 borders and said that Muslims, Christians and Jews were stronger when they were working together.
And we also pray for those who are extremists in Islam to be guided. Because extremism is a disease in every religion.
Thank you very much.
Syria was quick to distance itself from Islamic extremism after September the 11th, but Nassim told me they still felt tarred with the same brush.
There have been very bad propaganda describing the Arab character in a very bad description. Hollywood played a very big role in this and still playing. A lot of films destroyed the image of the Arab in the West. And of course, all the West had this background, then came bin Laden.
But bin Laden is not the enemy of Syria, Israel is. The next day, we left Damascus to visit the Golan Heights, the Syrian land captured by Israel in the 1967 war.
What's going on?
Well, our guide and driver couldn't get permission to go to the Quneitra, the Golan Heights border. So we've gone to the bus station, hired a little minibus for ourselves for the day. He didn't speak English, so I don't think our problems are over yet.
Once a town of 33,000 people, Quneitra was lost in the 1967 war. Under a disengagement agreement in 1974, Israel agreed to hand Quneitra back, but not before using bulldozers and dynamite to totally devastate the town. President Assad decided not to rebuild it.
The radio station's at the top of the mountain. That's Israel.
but leave it as a monument to Israeli brutality.
As soon as you see the plush field, that's the occupied territory, Golan Heights. And these are all houses, which on the way here we were told were bulldozed, and actually roofs are intact, collapsed on top of the houses, so it does look like they were bulldozed rather than bombed.
As we wandered around in the midday sun, it became clear that our bus driver had deserted us.
So we're in the village of Sumdania, hitchhiking our way back to Damascus, because our bus driver deserted us outside Quneitra.
And this music?
What's his name?
حاتم العراقي.
Hatim al-Iraqi.
Iraq.
He's an Iraqi singer.
Iraq.
Very famous.
This Iraq.
He's like, you know Robbie Williams? Robbie Williams?
Robbie Williams?
Robbie Williams or Michael Jackson?
No.
No. Arabic. But he's like...
I love Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson history. Cassette Michael Jackson history.
Oh, yeah, but he is very big in Iraq.
Yes.
He's a star.
Stop.
Unlike North Korea, Syria has satellite dishes everywhere, giving locals access to CNN and BBC. But it's state-owned Syrian TV that seemed more in tune with current Syrian thinking.
A new gruesome atrocity was added today to the Israeli criminal record when the occupation troops attacked Rafah, killing 8 and wounding more than 55, 10 of them seriously.
Israeli forces of occupation perpetrated today a new massacre against the Palestinian people. Palestinian sources say that at least 8 Palestinians were killed, including women and children.
Hello. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? It's Liz.
An unexpected call from Elizabeth, the other producer working on the series. We had been told that we would have to cancel our Iran trip because the war in Iraq would start in October. But for the time being, those plans had been shelved. If we were going to Iran, we first had to complete a chemical weapons course.
We do the chemical and biological weapons training course on Thursday and Friday. Cheers, Liz. Bye.
Just 2 days into our trip, we were brought home.
Guys!